All right, guys, it's 7 p.m. Uh, I'm Captain Mike. I'm here with Captain Pete. Today we're going to talk about fishing for drum, and we're not talking about the puppy drum. We're talking about the big drum, the big bull reds, the big black drum. Uh, but first, a little bit about the Virginia Saltwater Sport Fishing Association. If you haven't heard of us yet, we started just last summer as a sport fishing association to try to represent the saltwater angler throughout the entire state of Virginia, to try to fight for your fishing rights, to try to do what we can to protect the fisheries that we have. Because you haven't noticed over the years, every year they take away more of our fish, and it's getting harder and harder. So, and I will tell you, the commercial anglers are very well organized, and they show up to meetings very with strong positions, and they make their point. The recreational angler is terribly organized. We show up, we argue amongst ourselves, bicker amongst ourselves, and we're hoping to try to at least do a little bit of consensus building and try to have some strong positions on our fishery. So if you're not a Visa member, consider joining. You can go to our website at ifishva.org. It's only $25 a year. It's not a lot of money, and you can join Visa, and you get access to all these videos. You can watch them anytime you want. They'll be archived on YouTube, and plus we're still working on what other member benefits you guys will get. But the most important one is we're going to work on our fishery issues and try and protect our fish for the recreational angler. Just a quick word about cobia. You know, we've been following the cobia situation. I know a lot of you guys are following cobia, and I'll be honest with you. At the moment, it's still not looking pretty. You know, the feds haven't backed off their 20 June closure date, and they're pushing the states to implement 20 June or soon thereafter in state waters. It's the options that are being discussed are painful options, like one cobia per boat, or closed most of the summer, and none of the options look pretty. 2016 is going to be ugly, and even and they're working on an amendment for the fisheries management plan for what 2017 season will look like. Even that's already looking ugly, and so we got a lot of fights. April 18th is the next VMRC finfish meeting. If you're a cobia angler, show up to that. The decision won't be made there, but the finfish committee is an advisory panel, and they make recommendations to the VMRC associate commissioners, and their positions are heavily weighted as they're making their decision. So you get to show up, and the public can show up for those and make comments. Also, at the April 26th VMRC meeting is supposedly when the decision will be made, which will set our 2016 cobia regulations. So April 18th and April 26th, if you can make it, show up, because the more anglers there screaming foul, the better. We need to flood the room and just tell the associate commissioners that we're just not going to stand for this. You know, closed seasons is a non-starter, and one per boat is a non-starter. So, anyways, that's the bad news. The good news is the drum are on their way, and so we're here with Capt. Pete, and we're just going to do an informal sit here and just BS about drum fishing. We're not going to put up PowerPoint slides and bore you to death. We're just going to talk about fishing. And so you can ask questions on the chat panel, and I'll read them and give them the questions to Pete, and he can answer them. So Pete, you want to give a quick little introduction about drum fishing?
I'm Capt. Pete, pirate. Been drum fishing since 1974. Caught over 600 citation drum. Caught citation drum for 33 years in a row. I'm a drum fisherman. That's what I do. It taught me everything else I needed to know about fishing. It taught me knots. It taught me patience. It taught me how to read the water. And it taught me how to think like a fish. Because if you can't think like a fish, you're not going to catch that fish. Yeah, the internet has improved at fishing immensely. Because now you don't have to think at all. You can just go on the internet and figure it out. But back in the old days, there weren't drum everywhere, and you had to fish hard. So that's where the beginning was, and I fished hard. And I lost that big drum my first trip, and it took me 7 years to catch another big drum.
7 years.
7
Wow.
years. That's a lot of time put in.
Yeah. So talk about the reports that you're getting in now from people that are doing drum
Okay,
trips.
what I've gotten so far, water's still cold. No drum on the trout lines or in the nets yet on Eastern Shore. This comes from very good sources. Commercial fishermen that fish over on Eastern Shore, and there have been no drum caught yet. So those are yet to come. The first set of drum that comes in is going to come into the inlets, both black and red, and they're coming from offshore. They're not coming from south. They come from offshore where they've wintered, and they're going to come into the inlets and start feeding. And that's when the commercial fishermen catch them on their trout lines and in their nets. And that's when I know it's time for me to go. But so far, nothing. There's stripers in the surf on Eastern Shore. If you want to catch those, that's a good place to go right now. But I don't really care about that, so I'll wait for the drum. And we need about another 8 degrees in water temperature to catch the drum.
What water temperature do you like to
like
start?
58 to 60 degrees to start. And I've caught them up to, almost 76 degrees. But 58 is usually a starting point.
You haven't noticed anywhere from 52 to even 55 on the outgoing. And now it's
Right.
even starting to drop a little bit more with these cold fronts.
Yeah, with the cold fronts coming through and the weather up north, that all that water drains into the Chesapeake. People don't understand that. But water drains into the Chesapeake Bay from the mountains and all those
Right.
creeks, and they get snow and ice and crap up there, and it all drains into the bay. And then it takes about 2.5 days for it to get to the bridge tunnel. And when it gets to the bridge tunnel, all of a sudden the bottom falls out, and temperatures go down 4 or 5 degrees. And some years you have cold water that just sits right off the mouth of the bay and moves in and out, and you can't catch drum because there's cold water. So you have to think out of the box again and go farther north where there ain't cold water, where that water ain't affecting the bay. So a lot of times I'll catch my first drum, off of Wreck Island or Cobb Island instead of Fisherman's Island because the water's too cold there. And there's a lot of guys, trying to learn. And the best way to learn is, get out there and do it. You got to. Okay, red drum were originally called channel bass. That should tell you something right there.
During channels.
They're going to go through the cuts. They're looking for the cuts in the bars, in the sloughs and stuff. So that's where they're going to go. And in 1985, they changed the citation from channel bass to red drum. And also, at the same time as the red drum arrival, is the black drum arrival, and they come into the inlets first before they come into the bay. So, they're not catching them in the bay, but they're catching them in the inlets, like as far north as Washer Creek.
Right.
And people are fishing inlets using peeler crabs and clams, sea clams, and catch them in the bay. I mean, they're not the big drum, they're 40 to 44 inch drum. But nice drum, good eating size. You can eat them, make a nice stew.
Yeah.
And
now, when you're drum fishing, do you like to just go out and do red drum fishing and then do black drum fishing on a separate trip, or do you like to do both on the same trip?
later in the year, like around Mother's Day, that time frame, a week before, a week after, that's when we have Drumorama, and that's where a bunch of drum fishermen get together and we camp out at Capt and we go drum fishing for like 4 days. And don't matter the conditions, we're gonna go.
Yeah, that's my wife's favorite thing to do is Mother's Day, go drum fishing.
Yep.
Because it's usually wide open.
That's when it's on, and you can catch both reds and blacks on that during that time.
In the same spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we caught 144 drum in 3 days.
Wow.
4 boats.
So talk about it. What you would consider a good day of drum fishing? Kind of average numbers of fish caught on what you would think it was a good day. Not your best day, just
a good day is catching a drum.
One drum.
If I can catch a drum,
that's a good day.
That's a good day. That's all I need is one drum. And I hope whoever's fishing with me catches a drum too.
Yeah.
Because I want to put them in that position to catch a drum. But it's not up to me. I got to pick the spot on what knowledge I have, and just hope I'm lucky. And a lot of times, having a positive attitude really, really helps. You don't want to take somebody fishing that says, "Why are we going? We ain't gonna catch crap." You want to leave that guy on the dock.
That's right. That's right.
Throw an anchor around his neck and toss him over the side.
Or what gets me is the guy who you go out and you give it your darnest to catch a fish, and you either had a slow day or you're flying the skunk flag, and what upsets me is now the guy he's pissed off because for me, and I'm sure it's for you, being on the water and just the prospect of fishing and being fishing is where you get your enjoyment from. The catching is the bonus part,
right? In
my opinion. So
I'm
not going to get mad if I don't catch.
What you pay for is my boat, my equipment, and my time.
Yeah.
If we catch fish, that's great.
Yeah. So, without giving away any secret locations,
there are no secrets. Everything is known. You can go to any shoal, any inlet, and catch drum. You just got to be there at the right time. Drum move. They have tails. They swim. And when the drum first get here, they're coming into the inlets, and they're looking for meals, quick meals. So they'll eat whatever's out there. And crabs are a good bet early because that's what's there. And once you see the crabs swimming on the surface, then you know to use crabs for bait. Because once you see a crab on the surface, that's a sure sign that drum are going to bite.
Yeah. What's What time of day do you like to drum fish? Is it
I fish all day, but you know, optimum times is 2 hours before the tide and 2 hours after the tide. That's the optimum times. You know, right through the tide, either high or low, depends on where you're fishing. You know, if you're fishing a bar off the beach, then low tide is optimal. If you're fishing an inlet and a pocket in the inlet, then high tide is optimal, or high tide going to outgoing, because then the fish start moving, and as they move, they're moving out the inlet. And they got to come through these little cuts and channels, and that's what I look for, little cuts and channels, and try to think of where the drum are going to go.
what's the shallowest water that you like that you fish for drums?
3 foot.
So you'll get up into 3 foot of water in where the breakers are.
Yeah.
And
It's not for anybody that's scared. It's, you know, I'm crazy, and all the drum fishermen that came before me are crazy.
yeah,
And they taught me how to fish, and they said, you know what your boat can do, and what your equipment can do, and what you can do. And if you can't do it, don't do it.
yeah. I get a little nervous in the breakers. That's just me.
Yeah, I get nervous in the breakers too, but I know,
Especially when they come at my side. You know.
no, that ain't good. Side 2 is never good. Now, I don't mind off the bow or off the ass end. Oh, off the ass end, I move. I will move. I don't want waves breaking in my boat.
Yeah. I was out there one night and the sun was almost down, so you couldn't see much, but you could hear the waves, and a pretty good wave hit us from the side, and just almost knocked us off the boat. That's when I decided I don't really like these breakers too much. I'm gonna go back out in my 8 to 10 foot of water, where I feel a little bit more safe.
There's plenty of places to catch drum. You don't have to put your boat into jeopardy to catch drum. You can wait a little while, wait till the fish move. First drum to get here, come into the inlets, and they're coming from offshore. They're not coming from Carolina. They come from offshore, come into the inlets, so they feed. Then the next wave of drum, about middle of May, come from Carolina, and they come right up into the bay. Nautilus shoals, 9 foot shoals, Latimer shoals. They just vacuum clean those areas, and where the water turns over, that's where the drum's going to be, because water comes over a little hump or a little channel and turns over, stirs the bottom up. That's where the drum feed, because they're looking for an easy place to eat. They're not stupid, and they don't want to work hard for their fish.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk a little bit about your setup. What you like to use for your setups.
okay, this is my drum setup. I've got a Penn
I'm
Fathom.
gonna help show that a little bit closer shot so they can see.
Got a Penn Fathom 15 with 30-pound Power Pro to 60-pound Jin Kai 15 foot, and that goes to a coast lock with a very short leader of a 100-pound test, and to a 7/0 Gamakatsu J hook.
Yep.
And
that's a snelled hook.
A snelled hook.
Yep.
Everything's snelled, and the other end's a perfection loop, so I can unhook very quickly and get rid of the fish. If I have to leave the hook in the fish, if it's in the corner of his mouth real hard, yeah, none of my fish are gut hooked. I've probably caught maybe 3 or 4 gut hooked fish in my whole life. But this, I've used this rig for 30 years, and I don't really see myself changing anytime soon, because what I do, you know, I'm getting old now. So this is what I use. You know, y'all can disagree, use your circle hooks, do whatever you like, but this is what I'm going to use.
So what's your favorite bait for drum fishing?
My favorite bait for fishing out of a boat for drum is crab. Hard crab. Live female blue crabs. Although I am going to try green crabs this year.
Do you just hook the whole live crab? Do you break off the big claws, or you leave the big claws on?
I don't break off anything. I just take an ice pick and put a hole through their wing where the points are.
Right.
I put a hole through there, and then I slide my hook through there.
Okay.
That way I don't dull my hook, and I don't really injure the crab. And I want my crab live, running around, acting stupid. And most of the time the current is so freaking hard that, you know, the crab's not going to make it anyway. He just can't. He can't take that current. He wants to be up on the surface swimming. He don't want to be down on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. So how many rods do you like to fish on when you're out of a boat at anchor?
On my boat, I fish 3 rods. That's it. I fish 2 like this, and then I got the yellow blank that I fish.
Can we get that? I know you're having a hard time seeing.
I can't see.
That's okay. Yeah.
You have to excuse me. I had eye surgery. I can't see crap right now.
I don't see much better, but maybe just a little bit.
Right, the bright lights and all that crap. This is a saver blank, and I use these drum fishing also, same setup, fish finder rig, 6-pound test, short leader, kamikaze hooks. And again, the Fathom 15s. I have 3 of those. That's what I usually fish. When I go to deeper water or trolling, when I go to deeper water or trolling, I go to Fathom 25s, and just because they got more line and I can put the lures out farther behind. And when I troll lures, I usually troll 2 lines, and they're something like this.
This is a nice bucktail with a nice curly Q tail.
Instead of just running around looking for fish, I throw out 2 behind the boat. And
so you're trolling?
And I'm trolling.
What kind of speeds do you like to troll?
3-4 knots, not very fast.
So about like a striper troll, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe a little faster than a striper troll?
Very slow. And I'll troll from the 4th island to Cape Henry, and I'll usually catch 3 to 5 drum in that area.
Okay.
Just troll. And this is in June and July. And after I get off my bait fishing. But my favorite lure is this. A Gold Hopkins 550 hammered spoon.
Yeah, that's nice.
That will catch drum no matter what. If there's a drum around, it will eat that.
Just a quick story. My buddy, we're offshore fishing, and we're fishing for big eye tuna. We're on the canyon at night, or we're at dusk actually. And he pulls out this exact lure, and he wants to troll it with an inline sinker for big eye tuna. And I was like, bad mouth. I was like, that's not going to work. That's not going to catch a big eye. And I was, and sure enough, the first rod that goes off is his drone spoon, gold. And 2 hours later, 220-pound big eye on the deck.
Yeah.
So that is a good lure.
550 Hopkins will get a drum. I watched. I learned this from a good friend of mine that fishes down in Ocracoke, and I watched him fish a 550 Hopkins, and catch drum right out in front of me. I'd be on the beach fishing, and he's out there casting right off the beach. And Norman Miller, and he'd be casting in, and he's hooking drum. I'm going, get out of here, go away. I said, I can't catch drum if you're out here. And it was. But I learned from him doing that and fishing with him that the 550 Hopkins gold imitates a menhaden.
Yeah.
And that's what the fish want.
Yeah.
So
when you're trolling, what kind of relief are you looking for? What kind of contours? Are you trolling the ledges?
I'm just trolling the edge of the channel all the way out. I troll from the 4th island to Cape Henry, and I stay right on the edge of the channel in about 30 to 35 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't look for anything. I look for schools of drum, and if I see a school of drum, I have someone up on the bow ready to cast.
Well, like any kind of trolling, you're looking for signs of life, and you're headed that way.
Well, I watch my bottom machine, and it's just, this is blind trolling that no one does, no one thinks about doing, and it's just something I've done over the past 15 years, and I catch fish doing it.
So normally when they first show up and they're in the shoals, you like the bait fish.
Oh yeah, I'll be bait.
So what you're saying is later, after like mid-June,
after May, when the fish start spreading
they start spread out more. They're not at school.
Then I start looking for them.
You troll them.
I mean, you can catch fish from March to November. You just gotta find them.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. It's not like they're hard to find. You gotta know where they're at. And if you think like a drum, you know where they're gonna be at. They're gonna be looking for food, and you gotta go to those areas where the food is abundant and where they can eat.
All right, we got some questions rolling in here, Pete. I'm gonna get a little closer so I can read them to you.
I hope they ain't stupid. I hope they ain't from Shane.
I won't read you the stupid questions. So one of them from Walter. He says, at what temperature? So I'm assuming we've kind of already talked about
58 to
58 to
up. 58 is about the lowest I'll go.
So another question is, when you say inlets, are we talking about places like Rudy, Lynnhaven, Little Creek, or Oregon Inlet, or are you talking about? You're talking about
Eastern Shore.
Eastern Shore
inlets.
Side. Of
yes,
inlets,
Eastern Shore inlets. Not anywhere over here. No inlets over here. The big drum. They do come in our inlets, but it's very rare, and it's very hard to catch those fish.
Now you get the puppy drum there, but here we're talking about the big drum.
I'm talking about big drum.
Yeah.
The big reds, the big blacks. First place they're going to show is in the inlets. that's where you catch them.
Yeah.
And then they start spanning out, and then we get the schools from the south coming up off of Sandbridge, past Sandbridge and Virginia Beach, and coming into the bay, and they go right to the shoals. The first place they go to is Nautilus Shoals. It seems like the north side of the bay is a magnet. Then they don't go to the south side of the bay. They don't go there until late in the year when they're going out.
And it's always funny how the cobia will hug the shoreline, and as they come in the bay,
right,
they'll be right off where I live, off Buckrow Beach.
Yep.
But the drum don't do that. They make a beeline for the eastern shore.
Yep. They go to the eastern shore first. They go up the shore, and they go, and then the second wave goes into the bay.
Yeah.
And they come into the bay, and as the water warms, they look for deeper water because they want to get out of that hot water. So they'll get out of that hot water and go for deeper holes. Then you can catch them jigging around the pilings, like the kayakers do. Kayakers have great success jigging around the pilings. And I do that. I've tried it. Yeah, I catch a few fish, but I still like fishing bait because I want that tug and that run, the initial run. I like that adrenaline rush and just nailing the fish and then tightening down.
Yeah, because when they first get here, they're hungry. And, and they bite aggressively, and they run hard, pull hard, and that's just and that's one of the funnest fishing to me that there is, because it's one of the hardest fighting fish in the bay. And if you're an anchor and you got a current going against you, a bull red will fight 10 times harder than the same size striped bass.
Big redfish, I mean, they fight, and that's why I use heavy tackle now, because I want to get them to the boat as quick as possible. Get a picture, release them, because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want an extremely long fight. I don't want to tire the fish out. Kevin caught a fish last year that had teeth marks about this far apart on the back of a bull red. That's a big shark.
Got your head off with it. Yeah. That's an excellent point you bring it up. This is a catch and release fishery. We're not allowed to keep any of the big reds. You can keep the blacks, the black drum.
Yeah, the small blacks are good eating.
The small ones, but the red drum, it's catch and release, and so when you catch one, and Pete's right, you should use heavy tackle. Don't prolong the fight.
Yeah.
And
you jeopardize the fish then.
Don't try to lip gaff them. Use a nice big landing net. Get them in the boat. Measure them. Get a quick picture. And then release them. Now, this time of year, you don't really have to revive them, right? Or when they first show up.
When they first show up, they don't need.
You can just dump them right back in the water.
As long as it's quick, they can go right back in the water. And I launch them head first off the boat, and I make it very quick. It's a quick measurement, quick picture, and gone. And sometimes it's not even that. It's just, okay, that's big enough. Take the hook out, let them out of the net, and that's it. I've got plenty of drum pictures. I don't need any more drum pictures. And I understand people getting drum picture. Oh yeah, look at me, I caught a big drum. That's cool. It's great, but it's very easy to catch a big drum now. So it's not like it's really hard. It's pretty easy. Back in the 80s, catching big drum was a little bit difficult because you had to know what you were doing back then and had to have luck. And now it's just go out to where all the boats are and catch them, or go out to the pilings and jig them, or go out around the islands in the fall and catch them. They're there. And we didn't have that when we were growing up and young. We didn't have that information.
Yeah.
We didn't have the fish. When they put the restrictions on the fish, the population grew immensely. And now we've got 5 times what we had back in the 80s. And we have world record fish that we have to release. I've caught fish up to 63 inches.
That's a big red drum.
That's a big red drum.
Yeah, just so you know, 46 inches is the release citation.
Right.
And Virginia measures the total length from the tip of the tail to the tip of the nose.
Right.
There's another measurement called fork length where you
That's
measure.
what IGFA measures.
IGFA does fork.
Right. They measure from the nose to the
fork in the tail.
Right.
This part here.
And
The total length gets to the tip of the tail here. A fork only
that's
measures
usually
it right
about
there.
4 or 5 inches difference.
Yeah, it can be considerable.
Vic Gaspenny caught a world record drum. It was 49 inches. And everybody was bitching and crying. Oh, I catch bigger drum than that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you don't put in the time, don't do the effort, don't pay for the ruler, don't join IGFA, don't, put in the paperwork. Don't bitch if you don't put in the stuff. If you want a record, go out and get it. But do it. You got to do all the paperwork and all that stuff. And they don't measure the fish the same. So the fish that he caught was probably about 53 inches. That's a nice Virginia drum.
Yeah.
And, they're all, wah. I'm going, shut up. You don't do the groundwork. Don't bitch.
So my wife wants to know about your shirt.
This is Guy Harvey. This is my wife bought me this for Christmas. She says, be one with the drum. And
So it even has the spots.
Yep, got the spots. Got the drum on the back.
Spots on the back. Spots on the front.
Yep. And I have she bought me 2 drum shirts, and they were from Guy Harvey and the Christmas. I got those for Christmas because she knows how much I love fishing for drum.
You got a question from Team Badfish. It says, does Pete love me?
No.
No. All right, another question. Is there any particular bait you use if you want to catch a specific species? Say you just want to catch a black instead of a red. What kind of bait do you like? If you're targeting black.
Sea clams or softshell crabs. They like softshell. I've caught the most black drum I've ever caught on regular blue crabs.
Yeah.
I caught 28 one evening. And these were big drum in 9 foot of water. And I was fishing for reds, but I caught blacks. And that was after a northeast blow. So that told me something right there, that a northeast blow pushes the drum, the black drum, up into the shallows to eat. And I'm fishing for red drum. I caught 1 red drum that night, but I caught 28 big blacks. And I mean, the guys were crying that I was with. They said, I can't reel either. I said, just reel it. Come on. Get them to the boat. Get a picture. I mean, you couldn't even pick them up. They were so big. They were huge. And we were just pull them in, net them, and try to get a picture of them. And I couldn't even pick them up. We tossed them over the side. And everybody got citation. I mean, these were all big drum, 50-inch drum.
Yeah.
Blacks. And a black drum that's 50 inches, weighs like 70, 80 pounds.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
That's a lot of fish. Now they may not fight as hard as a red drum, but when they get to be 50 inches, they get to be like a suitcase. Just big.
Yeah, they get down and dirty.
They got the girth.
They get down and dirty, and they just stay down there, and they rub up against the bottom, trying to get rid of that hook, and your rod tip's going to bounce. And they're rubbing against the bottom, just trying to get that hook out. And most of the time, I just lock my drag and sit back on them and pull them off the bottom. Then once I get them off the bottom, then they'll come right to the boat.
Now I've used before, and I can't tell you if it makes a difference, but I've used what I call a crab clam sandwich.
Oh yeah.
When I'm fishing for both the reds and the blacks,
I've done that.
maybe a half a crab and a big old sea clam, or chowder will work too. But sea clams are better. But sometimes early in the season, the sea clams are harder to find. But you can always find the chowders. But yeah, I'll hook both on there, and you'll catch. You'll catch both. I don't know if I would have caught just as many on a whole crab or a clam. But
now Albert L goes out there and he'll be fishing with me, and he'll have a clam on, and we're black drum fishing, and he catches sheep's head, 12, 13 pound sheep's head, drum fishing every year. I mean, it's just weird, and I don't know why. It's just, I guess they're just in there feeding with the drum. But he always catches a nice sheep's head in there where we drum fish.
So yeah, a question from Nelson says, any reason to not use a heavy cobia spinning reel?
Cobia spinning reel?
Like a big spinning reel. Like you got one right there. You use that while you're anchored?
Yeah, you can use that. You use whatever you like. But, I prefer bait casting reel, conventional reels, because that's the way I fish. I'm not a big spinning reel fan.
Okay.
I don't.
But as long as it has the drag.
Yeah.
And
If it has, I have a drag capacity with these new pens of 30 pounds of drag on the spinning reel. So, that's good enough for me. I know my conventional reels, I have 32 to 36 pounds of drag. So, I can stop a fish now.
Yeah.
And I can stop a big fish. And we catch lots of big sharks fishing for drum, and especially in the fall around the islands. We've caught 12-foot sharks out there. And it says you need to get a picture of this really quick because he's not going to be here long.
You may not even stop him.
No, we get them to the boat. Those 25 fathoms with 50-pound Power Pro, I can get them to the boat, but I can't hold them there. And I wrap up on the leader. I'm using a 100-pound leader, and that leader is going to break real easy.
Now, what I've done in the past is I'll it all depends on how many anglers you have on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
The more anglers you have, the more rods you can put out, because then you got people that can clear lines and do things. If I'm fishing just with one or two people, I'll do like you, just a small number of rods.
I fish by myself or with one person.
Yeah, if you're with just two people, you don't want to go too many rods. But if I've got a full crew out there, I like I like to use my conventionals for the closer in casting, and then my spinning reels so I can throw it out there much further.
Well, I can throw my conventional reels farther than I can throw my spinning.
Oh, really? Well, I can't. My conventionals, I can only get them out so far before
I can cast
before I start bird nesting.
When I came up drum fishing, I started with spinning reels, and I found out real quick that conventionals was the way to go. And I went to a squitter, and that was the most god-awful reel to cast. And a guy came down there with a ambassador and cast, and I went, holy hell, look, can I cast that? And he goes, yeah. He gave it to me, and I cast it. I says, where'd you get that? He says, red drum. And I says, hold my spot. I'll be right back. And I ran the red drum and I bought a 9,000 Ambassador. That's it up there.
Okay.
And
they want to know where Rosie is.
Rosie's locked up. She's in the penalty box right now.
So another question is, have you ever tried fly fishing for drum? He's got up on his wall. He's got some.
I was a Orvis fly fishing guide. My biggest red drum on a fly rod was 50 inches, and that's on a 12 weight. And that was on a fly that I tied. It's called a Big Eye Clouser.
That's in Virginia.
In Virginia.
Oh. So when you're fly fishing, you're seeing them on the surface.
Yeah.
And you're.
I'm drifting on an incoming tide, right off of Smith Island, on this channel, and I just turned off everything in the boat, and I just drift right in.
Okay.
Tide. And you need a high sun, no wind, and the drum to cooperate.
Yeah, a question from Bill. He says, is there any particular time when you actually find the crabs riding the current on the surface?
Yes, May. Full moon May.
Full moon in May. So get out your
full moon in May.
Calendar.
They may go earlier. The shed in April. I think that's later in the month. It might happen then.
There's all kinds of apps for your moon phase. Getting here. Okay, so when is the full moon? There's full moon in April. It's not too far away. April 21st.
21st. There's going to be a shed then. I would look for crabs on the surface. If you find crabs on the surface, I would definitely fish live crabs.
And then May 21st is the May full moon.
The story about the live crabs, and this is the God's honest truth. This is how it happened. Al Pascal, Captain Al Pascal, took me drum fishing to teach me how to drum fish. We're sitting on the shoals, and we got baits out, and we're not catching anything. And I'm very impatient. I want fish. And he goes, you got to wait till the tide slows down, we'll catch drum. And so they go lay up in the bow, him and his buddy, and I'm sitting there watching everything. I'm watching the water, I'm watching the baits, I'm watching the rods, and I'm watching this crab go by. And a big red drum comes up and goes, whoa, smashes it. And I went, holy shit. So I reeled in one of the rods, and I got the net, and a crab came by, and I dip netted it, put it on there, I threw it back out, and it was like, bam, I had a drum. Al jumped up and said, what the hell did you do? I said, I put a crab on. He says, why? I said, because the drum next to the boat was eating a crab. And he goes, well, that makes sense. And so we started catching crabs after that and using them. And that was the first time I think anybody used a crab. And that was back in the 70s. And it was just dumb luck. It was just observation, watch what's happening, and do what's happening. And I saw a red drum smash a crab, so I used a crab, and I caught a drum.
There you go. Match the hatch. Use what they're eating.
Well, I was used to fly fishing, mashing the hatch and all that crap down in Florida and stuff, and a lot of the stuff that I learned down in Florida, I use up here because it works up here too. Like the way you hook the crab, through the wing. Like when you're permit fishing or tarpon fishing, you take an ice pick and you poke a hole through the wing, and then you slide your hook through it and toss them out.
I never thought about that. I'm probably dulling my hooks by just
Right,
pushing
you're
it through.
dulling your hook, and you're damaging the crab also by just pushing.
Because you're putting a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To get that hook pushed through.
Yeah. So if
that's
you
a good point.
just use an ice pick, you keep a real sharp ice pick and just poke them through the wing and stick that hook through there. And
yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah, a question from Nelson, is the motor noise a factor?
Yes. You stay at constant RPMs. Don't, like, if you're motoring along at idle, you stay at idle. You don't go up, you don't go down. If you
That's
do,
when you're trolling, right?
yeah, whatever you're doing, if you're looking for drum, if you're sight casting drum, don't change the RPMs of your motor. That will put the drum down quicker than anything else.
I've noticed that same thing when you cobia sight casting.
Yeah. Anytime you change,
even putting it, going to neutral or putting it in gear,
right,
that will cause them to go down.
You change anything, they do not like change. They like constant.
Right.
A constant noise, a constant vibration. Yeah, they like that. They'll tolerate that. But if you change it, they don't like that.
It spooks them.
It spooks them. This ain't the same. I'm leaving. I'm going down. I'm scared. Something's wrong.
So even if they see your bait, they're spooked. They're going.
They're going the other way.
Yeah.
And then you got to look for them again.
That's right.
And that's a pain in the butt.
So when you're at anchor, though, engine's off.
Engine's off.
No loud music. Or do you care? Do you rock and roll?
I rock and roll sometimes. You know, if I've caught 20 or 30 drum, I don't really care. I'm drinking beer, drinking liquor, and partying my ass off and playing rock and roll really loud and trying to drive everybody away from me. And
now you can hear the drum under the boat sometimes,
yes,
right?
Twice. That's happened twice. Only twice. I've had a school of blacks come up underneath me, and we were sitting in my buddy's cabin. He had a cabin boat, and we were up front in the cabin drinking liquor, and all of a sudden the whole boat vibrated, and we went, what the hell? And about that time, all the rods went off on the boat.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Billy sitting there, good friend of mine. He was a guide down in Key West. We got our captain's licenses together, and I stayed here, and he went to Key West, and for Big Pine, and I could go down there and fish with him, and he could come up here and fish with me, but Billy, the short guy, so when he held up the drum, all you could see was his head. The rest of the picture was drum.
Yeah.
That's how big the black drum were.
Yeah.
The other time, we were sitting off of Myrtle Island, anchored up late at night, and we're just talking, eating, and all of a sudden, the water just sort of lit up, phosphorescent, and the drum came through. Yeah, they just started pinging, and it was that was probably one of the most awesome sounds I ever heard. And all the rods, just one right after another. Every rod went off.
I like when you get a big black drum in the boat and you can hear the boom.
Oh yeah,
boom, boom.
Well,
boom.
that's what was happening when you were under the boat.
That's when you hear it from the water. Yeah, that's amazing.
And it vibrates the whole boat, and it's just crazy. And I like keeping the small black drum to eat because I make that Hatter style drum chowder, and that's so good. I mean, we have Drumorama every year. We're bunch of us go over to Capt and camp out, and we go drum fishing for 3-4 days. And like last year, we had 144 drum in 4 days.
Wow.
4 boats. And it was, you know, and it's a lot of drinking, a lot of eating, and a lot of fishing.
Oh, so yeah, one quick question from William. He wants to know how big your boat is.
My boat's a 20-foot Seacraft, 1973.
You don't need a big boat to go drum fishing.
You don't need a big foot.
Just watch the weather out there.
You need
it can kick up on you.
a smaller boat. Well, you got to be smart. You can go over to Wise Point and launch.
That's right.
You don't need to
You don't got to cross the bay. That's right.
You can carry your boat across, launch over there, go up the inside.
So do the question for William again? Do the drum go into the Potomac, or how far north do you think they go?
Yes, they go up there, but not the big drum. The smaller drum go up there, maybe 30 to 36 inch drum might go up there.
How far north do you think the big drum go?
Big drum go all the way to Connecticut. They've been caught.
The reds too.
Yeah, the big reds have been caught in big blacks have been caught, and tarpon have been caught in nets in Connecticut.
Now, I know the big black drum get caught up there. I didn't know the big red drum go that far north.
Yes.
In Connecticut. That's pretty interesting.
Everything is shifting north.
Yeah.
If you watch what's happening with our fisheries and the fish that we're starting to catch here that don't belong here, we're catching weirder fish. You know, we're catching groupers, we're catching scups, you know, we're catching snappers. We don't catch those here. They don't belong here.
That's what I hear happened to our flounder is now New York.
Yeah, New York
is
killing
killing the flounders.
Killing the flounders.
And we're just getting the tail end of it now.
No, you just have to fish different. You have to either go up north to the creeks up there, Watch Creek, up that way, Chincoteague, or you need to go offshore to the wrecks.
True that, but I'm just saying, back in the day, even 10 years ago, 15
we
years
used to
ago,
catch the shit out of them.
you caught
in
them
the bay.
right there
Right.
inside the mouth of the bay.
And now we don't.
Didn't require any skill. You know, you catch
We
all
used
you
to
want.
catch big gray trout. Now we don't.
Yeah.
We used to catch stripers. Now we don't. Everything changes. Everything's a cycle. Yeah. Will we see it again? I don't know. I know I probably won't because I'm old.
You got a question from Nelson. Did you shut off your motors on drifts while you're bait fishing? Now you're anchored while you're bait fishing,
I'm
right?
anchored.
Yeah, so you know,
my motors are off.
when we're bait fishing, we're at
Yeah,
anchor.
we're at anchor.
And we're hoping a school comes to you. And
Yeah.
these, like I said, these fish move around a lot.
Yeah.
So
well,
just because
you got to look for the spot. They're called channel bass. They were called channel bass before they were called red drum. But there was a reason they were called channel bass, because they looked for cuts in the bars. That's where they moved. So that's what you look for. You look for the backside of the hill, a cut in the bar, or a path for them to go. That's where they're going to go.
how long will you stay at anchor in one spot and not get a bite before you decide, okay, we need to move? Or do you just tough it out in one spot you pick?
If I pick a spot, usually it's 3-4 hours before. If I don't get a bite, it's 3-4 hours.
So you give it a good half a time cycle.
Because I believe when I go fishing, I believe in what I pick. You know, what I see, what I do, and I believe it's going to be right.
So you don't move around a lot.
No.
When you're fishing. That's
No,
I mean
I don't want to do that.
I fish with people that are so impatient.
I
They don't
don't
get a
want
bite in 20 minutes. Let's move.
Drum fishing teaches patience.
Yep.
Drum are going to get there. You might pick the right spot, but you might be there at the wrong time. And you have to wait for the drum to get there. And a lot of people don't, they don't, in this day of internet and cell phones and instant gratification. I want my freaking fish now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have the patience.
And they don't understand that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what irritates me is that you could be fishing and having a good day still. It may not be wide open.
Yeah.
Somebody pulls up Facebook. Oh, look, so and so's caught. We need to move.
Yeah. No, fuck that.
Because he posted an instant fish picture.
Fish have fins. Fish swim. They move. They're not going to be there. You don't fish the internet or the cell phone or whatever that.
So you got a question from Nelson. We'll run out of time here, so we'll kind of wrap it up a little bit.
Okay, Nelson, what do you want?
He wants to know, we've talked about it a little bit, but he wants to know, maybe you can talk him through it, the best way to handle the fish so that they're released safely.
Best way to handle the fish, land it quickly, get it to the boat. If you want to take a picture, put it in a net, bring it into the boat, handle it with wet gloves, take your picture, and dump them head first over quickly.
Now, one thing I found, when you net the fish, don't lift the fish like you might a spoon, because a lot of the nets they make, it's going to break the net, because these fish are very heavy.
Oh, we always
grab the rims.
Well, yeah, we always grab the rim
and lift from the rims.
Right.
That way,
we always
with the handle straight up.
We get two people,
Yeah.
one on each side, and we lift them because we're not catching small drum.
Yeah, these are big fish, and
These are big fish.
If you try to just
these
lift
are 50 inch,
lift it like a spoon,
big.
you're gonna break your net.
We had that one fish that was 63 inches, and that was just that was an unbelievable fish. Because I laid him on my foredeck. From my foredeck, from the anchor locker to the step is 5 feet. It's 60 inches, and his tail was hanging over, flapping. I'm going, that's a big. It was a male, and he was skinny, but he was long. And if we would have caught that fish in the fall, that could have been a 100-pound fish. He was probably 80 pounds when we caught him. My son laid down next to him. He couldn't pick him up. And, he was almost as big as my son. So there are big fish out there. It's a great fishery. We are blessed to have it. The restrictions that they put on it did nothing but bless us with a lot of them. You can catch drum very easily. All you have to do is go out and fish.
There has been talk in recent years about trying to let us keep maybe one per boat.
That would be great.
Not one per person, but maybe just one per boat.
That would be great.
Big fish to take home some meat.
Because
the
then
fish
I
is
can make
very healthy.
hatteras drum chatter.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Gray would love me for it. Because she's the one that taught me how to cook it. And hatteras drum chatter, if you never had it, you don't know. But
So give me your best prediction. When are going to drum when
last year
go
was
catch them?
April 13th, and the water was 60 degrees.
That's next week.
That's next week.
And last winter was colder than this winter.
Yeah. So I got people fishing right now. They fished today. The water was 53 degrees, 52 degrees on outgoing tide, and they caught stripers.
Well, I'm going to go as soon as the damn wind stops blowing.
Well, yeah, maybe if
we got the wind machine blowing.
If as long as the wind is out of the south, southeast, southeast, that's what you want, because that's going to push the drum in.
Push them in closer. Yeah.
But if it goes any other direction, it's going to suck right now.
All right, Pete. So any final thoughts before we wrap this up? Do you want to
fish? Go fishing. Believe in what you do. Believe in what you see, and don't let anybody tell you you're doing it wrong. Just do what you have to do and catch a drum. I mean, it's not that freaking hard.
All right, Capt. Pete. On behalf of VSSA, I just wanted to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me in the Pirates compound here. It's the first time I've been in the Pirates compound. Definitely interesting place.
I hope we get to come back.
And But
Can
thank
bring
you.
Lanny next time.
And, yeah, she was gonna come, but didn't come this time. She's at home watching. But
Hi,
just want to thank you, and let's get out and catch some drum.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See y'all later.